Alright, welcome to what will be a bit of a different kind of video for me since it is image editing. This isn't really something that I know about. I am not a visual artist, but I do like playing around with it and seeing what kind of stuff I can make. And I've been liking... I kind of figured out this general technique recently that I've been enjoying playing around with. So I thought I would make a video showing people how to do it. Let me pull up an example of the kinds of things I make with it. I think I would like this one to have more color variation, but it's, you know, texturally kind of gives you an idea of the kind of thing making here. I like this one. I think this looks like an overworld map on some RPG or something, like this archipelago world. I sort of imagine this one being like inside this. Well, it's called Collider. I was imagining it as being sort of like inside a Hadron Collider kind of thing, or the Large Hadron Collider kind of thing. I don't know. What's this? Oh, this one's pretty cool. Yeah, just this kind of thing. I have no idea what you would call this, really. It's just this overall style of image that I've kind of figured out how to make. So, for images to start with, it can pretty much be just about anything, and it can be pretty much any resolution. I actually, you know, I'll probably scale this down to start with because having it at this resolution will make things a lot longer to, it'll take much longer to apply filters and stuff. And then I can scale it up later, which is kind of neat in its own way because it doesn't just enlarge the image, it'll actually change it a little bit. But something with... You don't want a very plain image. You want something with a good amount of detail, different sort of textures and colors, and this doesn't actually really have that many colors in it, but just enough variation in the image to work with. So I have these pictures of bolts that I cut off, or at least some of them I cut off. This one had this like ichor come up around it as I was cutting it off. I think I'll do this one maybe. 6.6. So, kind of the core of the technique is... Oh, by the way, I didn't even mention, the music is coming from Matcha here, which kind of slows down the processing in GIMP a little bit, but I thought it'd be nice to have some live generative music. It's just a simple all signs patch. Okay, so kind of the core of the technique is enhance, deinterlace, set it to... Oh, actually, let me scale this down first, so this will be faster. Work with 25%. Let me know if it really matters. Okay, I don't know if it really matters when scaling it down, but especially when scaling it up, you want to make sure the interpolation is set to none. Yeah, that's better. You can already see it's a little more pixelated, but that is, I mean, that's really what we want, honestly. So deinterlace. this it doesn't quite create a gap between the pixels, but it sort of like blurs between the gaps. It says it is for fixing images that are missing every other row or column. I don't really understand how that would happen, but again, I don't really know. I don't really know how to do this stuff in reality. I just play around with it. So the block size kind of controls like how far it blurs. You can sort of see like it's blurring this light section out into this darker section. So you can do that to taste. If you have some like really strong contrast of like lights, you know, a really bright thing surrounded by a dark thing, it can be nice to have these sort of like almost like lens flares coming off it. But I usually find, you know, 30 to 50 is usually good. And then you want to repeat that, but go vertical. So you get kind of this grid of pixels. And then usually what I'll do from here is difference of Gaussian's edge detection. If you have both of these above 0, you'll find that it kind of makes things a bit more blurry, which is not generally what I'm looking for with this technique. If you bring one of them all the way down, the pixels will remain sharp. Doesn't matter which one, and you do get different results. I don't really know what it controls, but it does something. And you can see kind of the result of this blurring here, like how these kind of shine out at you know, the cardinal directions. Sure, say that's good. Now from here you can do any number of things. Some distortion, like a kaleidoscope, can be good, or polar coordinates. Although I have just noticed that it... Oh, actually, you know what? I bet that's because it sort of brings in transparency at the edges. So I can get rid of that if I want to do the polar coordinates later on. To get rid of that, you can flatten the image. Now we don't have this transparency at the edge. But I don't want to flatten the image yet, for a reason that I will explain later on. So, I mean, you can really just play around with it. I might like bringing in some different colors at this point. That. Something like that. I often like using some noise reduction. It's probably good. Then I will use edge detection again, maybe. Or alternatively, try sharpening it. I'll go with that. So let me the kaleidoscope now. To 3. Sure, like that. Rotate this by 90 degrees. Try increasing the contrast. And then playing with these different edge detect modes can give you, some cool results. I don't want, okay, let me, sometimes this image gradient 1 can be too busy as it is right now, but if it's less busy, you can get some really cool results with it. Let's see what. It's kind of cool. Oh, here we go. That's pretty cool. The blending between the edge detect version and the original version, pretty neat. I mean, really, it's just kind of a matter of playing around with it at this point and finding what you like. Let me now scale this up 200%. And you'll notice that it didn't just make it bigger, it like, oh, might not let me go back. Uh-oh. It didn't make it, or it didn't just make it bigger, it actually changed it, and I believe this is because I haven't been merging the filters as I've done this. I do not really have a thorough understanding of how this works, but I believe, so like when you pull up a filter, there's this merge filter toggle at the bottom. I think if you check that, it basically bakes the filter in. So the resulting image is the new image. Whereas if you don't merge it, I think it kind of remains as being like this filter that is still being applied. So scaling the image up, for example, will still, like, the new size of the image will still be affected by the filters that you applied to it. So you get kind of different results by scaling it up after applying filters, which can be kind of cool. Okay. And then I think I might just play around with the colors a little bit more. And then I'm probably just about done. Actually kind of curious to see what switching it to polar coordinates after the kaleidoscope will do. Now I still have this pixel line, transparent pixel line. Oops. Let me try flattening it, which merges the filters and does other stuff as well. I think it gets rid of an alpha layer maybe. Let's see if doing this now. No, it still has. I don't know. I've used the polar coordinates distortion in the past, and I don't think it has had that pixel transparent line in the middle, so I'm not sure why it's doing that, but the hue chroma control can be cool to like kind of massively change the overall color scheme. I'm not really sure what chroma is. It seems kind of like saturation, but I don't know. I don't really know what the difference is. Switching to the hue saturation control. I guess if you also, for some reason, I still don't understand why, sometimes opening up the hue saturation control will, just opening it up will change the colors. I don't know what does this. I often end up liking the result. Like, I actually like how it changed it here, so I'm gonna keep it. But yeah, it does that for some reason. But then you can go into the individual colors and control them separately. So like, a good way to do that is you switch to one, turn the lightness all the way up so you can see what pixels are going to be affected by it. And then you can change the color as you want, change the lightness and saturation and all. Some greens here. I think I actually might want to keep them as is. We just make them a little darker. I don't know. See, this is like I don't really know like any sort of color theory or anything, like what colors are supposed to go well with other colors. I just kind of tweak it until I like it. Sure. I like that. I think that's pretty good. So the overall, I don't know, kind of not tone. I don't know. Kind of the thing that I envision these images as, or how I interpret them, is often as like cities or maps or something. Like, well, there was that one I showed. That was like a overworld map for a RPG or something, but like, let me see. These are some others I made. Oh yeah, here's another like kind of map-like one. This one I feel it looks like looking at a city at night from a plane. That's just kind of the overall image I'm trying to create with these sorts of things. They can be extremely varied. Like, you can really get some quite wild results, especially with the different. Wait a minute here. That's pretty cool. I don't want to mess with that yet, though. Or I don't know. You can just get lots of really cool and strange results, particularly with the different edge detect modes. Like, let's see, this one I made. What's this? Oh, that's my wallpaper on my computer right now. Tunnels. Where is it? Called tunnels. I don't know where it is. Maybe I made it on a different computer. That might be. I might have made that on my laptop. But you can get a lot of different kinds of results. The overall thing that I'm looking for is lots of very detail, not homogeneous detail. Like, you can have these sort of like big blank areas or really sparse areas, but then have these really dense, complicated areas as well. just something about me is I like looking at things with lots of detail, like lots of little things to look at, and creating these images scratches that itch. Like, they just feel like these worlds that I can explore, and I really like that. They're fun to make and look at. I want to get like a high quality print of them that I can put up around my apartment. I imagine you can do that. It's kind of annoying, like when you look at them here, you know, you zoom in and it gets all blurry because it tries to, you know, like interpolate the pixels, but I don't like that. Another thing you can do is dither it. You can get some cool results. Sometimes it doesn't really work well on this one. I also sometimes like indexing the colors. So like, well, let me save this one. Image 3, 2. I don't know. What is this thing gonna be? V2, V1. I already recorded one version of this video, but it ended up going way too long. So I wanted to make a bit more of a concise one. I always export them as PNGs, JPEGs. I don't know, they add lots of artifacts. Although that's something else I want to explore. I want to try saving one of these as a heavily compressed JPEG, bringing it back in, messing around with the artifacts more. I think that'd be a cool thing to explore. There's just lots of stuff to explore. You just like keep messing around with these things until you kind of stumble upon something you like. That's basically it. But I like indexing the colors, so like bring it down to like 8 colors. I think that can look quite nice. If you do this and then continue processing it more and do things that introduce more colors to it, you'll find that when you go to export the image, it will look differently than what you see in GIMP, because it's still exporting as whatever palette you set it as. The way to make it so you can see how it's going to export is by going to image, flatten image. I got stuck on that for a little while until someone in the GIMP Discord helped me. But yeah, it's just a cool thing to play around with, explore, have fun with. I like it a lot. A lot of fun. So yeah, hope you enjoyed watching this. At least hope you try it out. And I don't know, maybe you can post a link to something in the comments. I don't know if you can post links in the comments or not, or you can message me on YouTube or Twitter or whatever. You know, if you make something, I'd be happy to see it. So thanks for watching.